further ado.
So this is... Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of...
May I interpret these words as your in that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor.
You would draw your blade... I see. It seems like you have made up your...
I can't believe it.
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly...
Lady Farina, what is the
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses?
I raised my hands just now to indicate I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for the Hydro R. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the truth. This time, applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making...
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Also, please allow me to ask, Mazzy, just how much work did you do to...
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula.
Navia, the president...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular... The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more... Moreover, according to our understanding in an... So, we arranged for a second...
So, you mean...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box.
That's right. That house was a magic...
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and it was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive... We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage,
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to... You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we... Oh? Is that so? It's fine. It mattered. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too. Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this doc. So in other words, we can refer to this. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. I didn't think this is the first time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia.
The fortress of Mirapede was
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the action.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Arc.
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its fate. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Farina's claims...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage...
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a
curse. I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was...
Nervylette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina. Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell...
Well, don't start celebrating too early. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference for centuries, manifestations of my authority, one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you at...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of while the court is in session, the principles of justice and the... You will prove yourself unable to defend...
I never thought you'd...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you instead of having been created by you...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And you can't argue that just because a divine creation is...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's...
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to...
You don't need...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archon. Thus did I give up all of my divine power.
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true,
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not if you have no evidence of another hydro...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we... that doesn't sound... It has been established that all Fontanians can
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson, including those of some of my... So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster, I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simple...
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed...
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she...
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to...
She's just staring at the water without saying...
What's going on? Is she
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewin, if you're present...
Siege?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get to...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, however, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for we don't want anyone else to lose their life.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a It's a great thing that the direct sample...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Please think about it! How can you conclude... Also, if... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your...
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway me. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice mech... According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice?
No, the Oratrice also...
Isn't that correct?
However, the exact wording of the to be punished via...
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trail to show her this...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine... Is this sentence really appropriate?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the really...
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, but now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial
Fremine! You finally made it.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave private...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom. But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the...
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until... However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently...
Okay, let's try to recall the contents... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using... Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed OC? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and this must be the point when the Hydro Arch... The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking and... That reminds... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians of... We didn't believe that such a That doesn't sound...
We know from the cave and the... Perhaps what is about to take the true sin of the Hydra and the original sin It's not what the... The prophecy from the stones... If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. Their essence... The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy... The stone slate's content can all be verified by recent events. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny,
we're...
All Fontanians were originally created by the late The evidence for that... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved...
Indeed.
from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celeste. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's
The Hydro Archon's true sin.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archons create.
Yeah! Isn't the image him? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher. I believe I should share this truth not only with you, your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and in the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire. However, even though water as an element not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordial. But if Fontanians were to ever come. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people.
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death?
This really might be too much information for your regular
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. A key point of the vision, they have not been dissolved, which implies the nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of. You may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to.
I think I'm following now. So, what in truth, everything we've done has happened
What should we do?
No matter what.
If that's the case, does that mean...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small. About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial. However, I believe that rather than being assured as for the root cause of the catastrophe. This eruption was just a small warning of.
That doesn't sound...
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true
The truth, the original sin.
So we've met it at last. I understand that whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say from the way he looked. He must have been fighting
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but anyway, now that we know.
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much, even if the entirety of.
We've already done everything we can. We've come.
Indeed. That's not.
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy, yes. Just as prophecies are usually only the future, ultimately,
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous.
Fusalo. Why?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. When that she knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly prince. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather I spent a terribly long time mulling it over. Alone on the ocean, I had to outwit the heavenly principles. I'm a genius, I know. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this. Any more than I chose.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do. Even now, after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as the me you see before you now is that divinity. And she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called.
But Furina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no. I cannot begin to.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizing.
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to... Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon.
Written in the stars.
Let my name echo in song. Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! This way.
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me?
Mirror you, huh? You know what?
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait. I know the people will all be dissolved into the waters. And...
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people. I will tell you how to save everyone.
Oh, so there's still hope. As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side.
You truly... I suppose this would also be the...
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its hydro...
Play as... a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of But
how will I do this? A human assuming the role...
Don't worry. What you must do is not being a human yourself, remember. Your true challenge...
I'm still not sure I So, how long am I going to have...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to... But I promise you...
A trial, huh? The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. But what should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Farina de In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions that...
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a...
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to calm down, Farina. Think assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One... Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage. Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. Now then, let us...
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful. Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best, my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep that we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice, the scales of justice, should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble in this world that just so long as I, the Archon Focalor,
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House? Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm—
If I may be so impertinent.
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady—
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will—
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your— Oh, I'm afraid— All right. Deoteria, is it?
You remembered me, and you knew he is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should—
You're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, all manner of signs indicate that—
Well, as I understand it, the
Really? Have they—
I'm afraid that they
Is that so? Well, no. The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the Lady—
There'll be no—
Lady Farina, I've—
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies.
Understood. Keep monitoring. I feel utterly—
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to... I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience...
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Surely you
What is it? Good.
Are you crying?
Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share. That's impossible.
It was fated, but even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, and if Tevat is in its entirety, if she's right, I could confide, but if things don't play out as expected, no, Farina. But what if, Farina, you've worked so hard? Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? If you let this opportunity slip through you, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in?
Yes, it had to be done. She did very well. If she had let her resolve, it seems that trusting human...
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the...
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine.
And then I became one with the Oratries, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. Alas, your understand. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is. Oh, you have it. And to be more... I mean, did my work over these last 500 years. But really, some have already discovered that the vast majority had to be accumulated.
It was all a part of...
Indeed. This power accrued over 5 centuries, but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Arc.
So the Oratrices call for death. The destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's rightfully. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro.
But...
Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea. And I, for my part, am the god of justice. And speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice So, if the theft of the primordial seas might, then, leaving matters of procedural, in other words, existence while defying the prophecy and ensuring that at this point, we Iudex Neuvillette.
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that at last. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them, you are a deviant. Things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
I, Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and have—
It's time